Distributive property, you've done before, but we're going to kick it up a notch and bring in some fractions. Remember, we've been working on the fractions. We're going to involve those today. So you're going to want a calculator again today that has the fraction key on it, all right? Remember yesterday we worked with converting from mixed to improper, improper back to mixed. I want all of our answers to be left in improper form. So when we get down to our fractions, write all answers in improper form if possible. Okay? All right, so let's refresh the distributive property. Distributive property is multiplying something by more than one thing, and that more than one thing will show up in this parentheses. And so we're going to be multiplying this number in front by both the 5x and the minus 6. So right now the multiplication shouldn't be too terrible. What's 3 times 5?
15.
Great. So this is 15x minus, what's 3 times 6?
18.
18. And we're done with that. You can't go any further because remember the first thing that we reviewed, or what we reviewed last week, was the combining like terms. And 15x has an x in it, but the 18 does not, so we cannot go any further. We're not solving, we are stopping here. This is the simplified expression. Don't forget that if you have a negative, you have to keep that in mind when you're multiplying through. Follow your negative rules, right? Negative 10 times positive 1 is negative 10. But negative 10 times this negative 3x. And a lot of you think, well, that's not negative 3x, it's minus 3x. But remember, it's plus negative. You don't have to write it as the plus negative. You learned that back in middle school, but it's treated as a negative. So a negative times a negative is a positive. Yep. So this would be plus 30x. Jackson, did you have a question? Sorry, I had to complete my thought before I forget it sometimes. Okay, so same concept. We're going to bring it down into the fractions. But again, you're going to probably want your calculator handy and the fraction key handy. What we talked about yesterday was getting in improper form, and we want to make sure that all of our answers are improper, because when you do a multiple choice quiz, which you are going to do on Friday, all of the answers are going to be improper. And so we want to make sure that you're ready and are able to get there. So I have to do negative 31 tenths times negative 8 fifths. So I'm going to grab my calculator and do that. It is negative 31 fraction 10 times negative 8 fraction 5. It doesn't matter that the negative is in front. We will attach it to the top number always, okay? So then I hit equals. That's a mixed number. I want it improper. Who remembers the keystrokes to get it improper? Second fraction key, enter. So I want 124 25ths. 124 over 25. A. Then I put the letter after it. I can't plug that in the calculator. Okay? Then I'm going to do negative 31 fraction 10 times 35 fraction 6.
You lost me. I couldn't put it in
the improper form? Okay. I'll let you get caught up here. Get the next one in, and then we'll talk you through that step. All right, so negative 31 fraction 10 times 35 fraction 6. And then make sure you get this form.
35?
Yeah, it's 35 fraction 6.
And then
Did you get this form?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So then we do the second blue key. Yep, the blue key. And then the fraction key again. And then hit equals. And it should give you your improper form. So this is minus 217 twelfths. Again, you might be saying, well, that's a negative. Yes, it'll be plus negative 217 twelfths, but we'll write it as minus. So I skip that whole plus negative stuff nowadays. I just jump right into getting it in the simplest form, okay? Any questions on this? Jackson, did you figure out how to get yours into improper form?
Yes.
You did. Okay, good. All right, up next, let's do this one. I'm going to change the color. So 11 fraction 4 times 27 fraction 5. Get your fraction answer in mixed form. Unless you're Mikhail, and Mikhail, yours shows up the right answer right away, doesn't it? On your calculator, if I remember correctly. Then we go second fraction. I got 297 twentieths. Don't forget the V.
Is this syntax error?
Okay. Sometimes if you, let me see, sometimes it has to do with, you've got an extra plus sign. That plus sign. If it ever does that, it'll usually, sometimes it'll even flash on the, what the bad problem is. Okay, let's do the next one. So this is 11 fraction 4 times 2 fraction 7. And that one's already in lowest form. It does not have a whole number. So all I can write here is 11 over 14. So I don't have to do that final step on this one because there was no whole number in front. The last part, the last few examples are with decimals. And just a reminder that it'll work the same with decimals. These are all real numbers, things that we work with. The rules of what we're doing do not change. It just is going to look a little funny because we have those decimals. So I can just, again, use my calculator. Negative 1.7 times negative 0.4. So I get 0.68x. Sometimes I don't even put the 0 in front of the decimal in the calculator when I do it, if it's a 0 there. And I most often don't put the 0 in front of my answer. I don't care if you do. I just don't because I'm lazy, and that one last thing is not necessary to do. Then I'm going to go negative 1.7 times negative 1.3. Again, we'll treat that minus like a negative because it's plus negative 1.3. So this is plus 2.21. Good with that? Nothing fancy. Same rules. Works the same. We're distributing it through. I multiplied by the first and multiplied by the second. And then we'll finish up with our last one. I don't want to cover that answer. But let's see how we do. It looks like negative 0.38b minus 0.52, if done correctly. Good? Okay, I'm going to hand out your worksheet. Your job is evens or odds. Finish what you can while we're here. If you finish all the evens or odds before you go, put it in the basket and you can grab your phone.